works out for you.
So we're going to go over there and just, I'll probably do a beer review while we're over there.
We are now streaming to the ones and ones of, fans.
The ones and ones.
The Rock says Rudy Poo. That's odd. Why did the title not update? I'm going to have to do it manually. The joys of technology. Edit. Oh, it did. That's weird. Oh, there we go. Okay. And in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Geekodrome. Geekodrome is the weekly roundtable discussion of all things geek. I am Jon, and I am joined by the Italian-American dream, Jon Stugots.
Hey.
Stugots. Hey, did you happen to catch any of Raw tonight?
I watched almost all of it.
So did I. And it was, well, I wouldn't say great, but it was, well, I wouldn't say entertaining. But the guys from Saturday Night Live were there.
Dude, they were the worst part of it. The rest of it was fine. The actual wrestling storylines, definitely much better with Bruce Pritchard back on creative, without a doubt.
So let's just jump to that quickly. You turned me on to something to wrestle with fairly early in our run here. And
I stopped listening like 8 months ago, but yes, I got you hooked.
I still listen because I have a long commute, so I need something to listen to. And plus, when I'm working out at the gym or going running, I need shit to listen to. But Bruce Pritchard, who started this podcast a couple years ago with Conrad, they, were telling backstage stories for the WWE. And last week, Bruce returned to the fold and is back with the WWE. So, do you feel his returned presence has made a difference?
Definitely. The Raw from last week and again this week has so much more energy for it, towards it. And it definitely it helped with Roman returning from his successful battle with leukemia. And the Becky Lynch storyline, all things a conversion. And it's Wrestlemania season, so everyone steps it up this time of year. But Bruce being back, I think, is a difference maker.
I agree. I especially feel it at the end of the show.
Yes.
Excuse me. Yeah, so, like, the end of Raw for at least the last year has been rather lackluster. Like, it always just ends, I don't even want to say on a down note, but just an indifferent note.
Yes, like, very different.
Like, a match kind of just ends, or a storyline just kind of fizzles out.
Lingers, yeah.
And last week, as much as I wanted to see Ric Flair, having Batista just trash Flair in the dressing room.
That was such a great surprise. I had no idea that was going to happen. I see people complaining about it on Twitter, saying it's been the build-up for this feud, for this match has been underwhelming. I don't know how you can get that after one tiny segment last week.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a bunch of shit for it today on Twitter from someone who posted a video, and the headline was, the build-up is underwhelming. Please watch my video. And I respectfully said, I'm not watching the video. Your headline killed it. No, and the response back is, if you watch the video, you'll see what I mean. No, your headline sucks. If that's not what your video, like if your video is something other than what your headline's describing, then you killed it with your headline. There's nothing sucky about that build-up last week. That was a great, quick segment that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't follow any of the wrestling news or anything like that, so I don't generally know what's happening behind the scenes for the most part. And so for me, Batista was a big surprise. It was pretty great. Yeah. Again, there's a little disappointment that, they're promoting Flair and then they don't have Flair. But
yeah, but you know what, though? Everyone thought that it was going to be Becky that came out and beat the crap out of Ric Flair to try to get herself into the match. It was a great surprise. And believe me, if you look at Ric Flair's face, you see a giant smile on his face as he's laying there in pain. after the brutal attack of Batista, because that to him was a better birthday present than going out to the ring and having the fans cheer for him.
Yeah, I mean
He got
Flair.
to take a bump. He got to be on camera. He got to be involved in an angle. All things he loves a hell of a lot more than just walking the aisle.
Flair loves the spotlight,
Yeah,
and we know that. And it was not just let's just shine the spotlight on him. It's make him part of the show, make him, a reason to be there.
right.
And Rick gets it. Rick's been in the business for like 50
And if
years.
you think he's not going to be in Triple H's corner at this match at WrestleMania, which would not have happened if he just came out for his birthday cake, you're sorely mistaken. He will get a gigantic kick out of that too,
And a nice paycheck too.
and a nice paycheck. Yeah.
Everybody gets a WrestleMania payday.
Well, I don't know. Like the rumors now are that the WrestleMania paydays aren't what they were because there aren't pay-per-view buys like they used to be, and that's what the bonuses used to come off of. Used to come off the gate and pay-per-view buys, and now they don't get that. So I don't know how they do the bonuses anymore for WrestleMania.
That's true. But I mean, he'd still get a paycheck.
Yeah, you get the actual paycheck.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, again, he's just an attraction. He's not going. He wouldn't get a portion anyway.
And he's going to get involved in the match. If there's any way in the world that he can bleed, he will bleed. And this is so much better than coming out for a birthday cake. So much better.
The amazing thing is the man is 70 years old.
Yeah.
And, half the roster can't keep up with him.
Yeah, and he's gonna bump for Batista like a son of a bitch in that match, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And just by being outside, or running down and interfering, he's gonna do something. So it's knowing him, like from the stories that we've heard about him, he's going to love this a hell of a lot more. And again, it was a surprise. I had no idea, and I did not see anyone on Twitter saying, "Oh, I knew this. I knew Batista was going to be there." It was a surprise, which that element is somewhat lost anymore. It's very hard to get a surprise through in wrestling, and mainly because of social media.
Yeah, I mean, after the fact, I found out a friend of mine let me know that, some of the sites were reporting that Batista versus Triple H at Mania.
Yeah.
So if they were going to do it, they pretty much had to start kicking it off last week because it's 6
it's
weeks
gonna
out.
happen. Yeah, exactly.
So you knew that he had to show up some point if they were going to actually have the match.
Yes.
But other than that, how they did it was a big surprise. And I will say, if I was in the live audience, I'd be a little disappointed that we didn't get Rick to come out.
You had to see anyone who was there live complain about it.
Oh no, I don't doubt it.
I mean, I knew so many people that were at the Raw last week in Atlanta. No one complained about it. Everyone was excited that they got to see Roman Reigns, and that there was that surprise. The only thing, I guess you could have did it better. Rick could have been in the ring. Lights could have gone out. Lights could have came back on. There would have been Batista standing over Ric Flair laying on the ground.
Wouldn't have had the same impact, though.
It would have the same. It wouldn't have. The fact that it was in the back, I think, and you don't, I think it worked really well.
Yeah, but the other thing is that if it's in the middle of the ring, it means everybody can attack him. If it happens backstage, Rick's on his own, and
yeah, he got paintbrushed. He got shellacking, as you used to say.
And there's nobody there who can help him except the cameraman. And
yeah.
Those cameramen, they just never step in. I don't know what's up with that.
They just stand there holding the camera.
They seem to be there. They could help if they were there, but they never.
And I think this is definitely the other thing you could tell that Bruce had an influence on. The cameraman was being dragged by Batista into the locker room, and the other cameraman was out of shot and had to run up. And it's those little details, because I see people all the time, they gripe with those little touches of the storyline, and they're right, of why is the cameraman there? How could the cameraman be there exactly at that perfect time? And that to me, that kind of explained it. The cameraman wasn't in the shot where he should have been. He had one cameraman had to get dragged. The other cameraman had to run up to film it. Like that, to me, those little details matter.
Yeah, and Bruce has said such things on the podcast before.
Yeah.
So,
So it's like now, like because we know that, we can tell what segments Bruce produces and which ones don't. Because earlier in the night, Triple H was just standing around talking to Bayley and Sasha, having idle conversation with the cameraman on them, talking about nothing important when, what's his name? Drew McIntyre walks up. You know what I mean? Like, Why is the camera there just filming Triple H talking to Bayley and Sasha all casually? You know, not like if you would have like a producer there for the segment, like, hey guys, come on, you know, camera's on, we're live, let's go, you know.
Yeah, well,
And then McIntyre would have walked out. Something where it would have been an actual behind the scenes look, you know, or what you could have worked it however, but you could have worked it a little bit better than the cameraman just being there at the right place and time
you mean
for
like
no reason.
what happened with all the Saturday Night Live guys tonight?
Yes.
Where they're just walking around and,
yeah.
you know.
Like if earlier night when Stephanie was talking to them, tell them to take security with them, if she just said like, hey, make sure the cameraman's with you. All right, now you've explained it for the night why there's a cameraman with them.
Yeah. Instead, you have their dumb conversations as they're walking down the hall, and they were dumb conversations, and why would anybody care about this shit?
And the big retort for everything that was going on is, he's stupid. He's stupid. My friend's stupid. Like, all right, come on, you guys are funny. And I've seen you guys on Weekend Update. You guys are funny. Be funny. Just come up with something other than he's stupid. He's stupid.
Do you want me to go to the bathroom with you?
Yeah. Like, come on. From now on, we go to the bathroom together. Really? We're having a sword fight?
Yeah, I still don't understand why Braun Strowman attacked him. Like, what exactly did he say?
He said wrestling's fake.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But he did... Yeah. But it's just like, why would the wrestler know that? It wasn't like, hey, we're really broadcasting this. It's sort of like, are you behind the scenes or are you broadcasting?
Then he choked him for the whole commercial break.
Yeah, that made me laugh. It's like, all right, he held them up.
Blue. He did look like it. He did have some doll eyes going on, but he would have turned blue by that point.
Yeah, really? Just being, well, he also lifted him up by the shoulders, so
yeah.
It's just like, yeah, okay. But those guys added nothing.
Nothing.
But don't
Celebrities being on the show very rarely does. I think Hugh Jackman was the only celebrity that actually added something of value.
Now,
and Bob Barker.
And Pete Rose.
Pete Rose, yes, consistently. Pete Rose got it. He got what was going on.
I think Pete Rose has always had a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And, like, once they brought him in the first time and he played along and then he got the joke.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, let's do this again and again and again.
And again. And it worked every time. There wasn't a bad one. Every single one of those appearances were money.
Oh, yeah. That's the reason he's in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So, you know, how many other, you know, celebrities can say that who weren't wrestlers?
I don't know. I mean, they have a celebrity wing.
Yeah, I guess they do have a few celebrities, but...
The one that comes to mind of never doing anything in the ring was William Shatner. I think he guest hosted once, but I don't think he did anything of importance.
I didn't even realize he was in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Jerry Lawler inducted him. Drew Carey at least was in a Rumble match and took a bump. Well, didn't even take a bump. He jumped over the rope, so he didn't take a bump. And Mr. T, who was so instrumental in the first two WrestleMania, so that was deserved.
Yeah. Oh no, Mr. T definitely, and he did go in a match. But all right, but these Saturday Night Live guys, the worst thing they did was in their interview with Stephanie. They said WrestleMania is in New York, and then one of the guys put on a New York Mets cap.
Yeah.
Now, you and I, born and bred New Yorkers.
Yes.
You know, I went to college in New Jersey, so I know New Jersey. And WrestleMania is not in New York. It's at the Meadowlands.
Yes, MetLife Stadium.
MetLife Stadium, formerly Giants Stadium.
Yes.
Which, you know, there's no football team that plays in New York either, but we don't need to go into that at the moment.
The only football team that plays in New York are the Buffalo Bills.
True. But none in the New York City area where these purport to play.
No. They play in East Rutherford, New Jersey. At,
I don't know, a little place called the MetLife Stadium.
Yeah. You know, back when during Hurricane Sandy, or after Hurricane Sandy, when they announced that the Giants weren't going to play football that weekend, but the marathon was going to go on? Is that what happened, or was it the opposite? The marathon was canceled.
The marathon was going to happen. They canceled it the Friday of. And I know
Right,
because I was supposed to run it.
right, and they
Football game
still
was
did
canceled early.
and people were pissed off about the game being canceled, saying New York needs that game to go on for resemblance of normal everyday life. But the game is in New Jersey. New Jersey needed that game, not New York.
And to be fair, the hurricane hit New Jersey just as badly as New York.
Just as bad. No, there's no doubt about that.
So,
but to say that the game had to go on for New Yorkers, no. Have to go on. Like, the stadium is in New Jersey. The tax dollars generated by that stadium go to the state of New Jersey. The taxpayer dollars that went to building that stadium were from the New Jersey state taxpayers.
yes.
They don't pay New York tax. Anyone in New York didn't pay a dime for that stadium to be built.
No, and I don't even know why they get to keep the name New York at this point.
And the big thing for that is always, well, they used to play in New York. Well, you know what? The Colts used to play in Baltimore.
Yeah.
They're not called the Baltimore Colts. They're called the Indianapolis Colts.
A lot of teams have moved around since then.
Yeah.
Well, I actually looked it up tonight. The Giants last played in New York in 1975.
Right.
When Giant Stadium was built, they moved over permanently. Prior to that, they were at Yankee Stadium with a little stint at Shea when Yankee Stadium was under construction.
Right.
The Jets last played in 1983, to the point where the scoreboard at Shea Stadium said, "Good luck to the New Jersey Jets."
Right.
After the game.
Because they were moving to New Jersey. And I know the Jets have a training facility on Long Island. I know that they have corporate offices. Was it, I think, on 34th Street or 57th Street, something like that, in Manhattan. But the games are still played in New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't doubt that they have offices in New York. I'm sure they even have a store in New York somewhere selling merchandise.
I'm sure they do.
Again, I don't follow football, so I don't pay attention. But like the Yankees and the Mets have 2 or 3 stores around Manhattan where they sell merchandise. So
the Phillies have a store in Clearwater because they have a farm team in Clearwater.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the Clearwater Phillies when they play in Philadelphia.
No, it's just spring training, and it's AAA.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the Yankees have a team down there too.
The same team, the Tampa Yankees. So the New York Yankees are still called the New York Yankees. They have offices here.
Yeah, but their main stadium.
The team that is called the Tampa Bay Yankees are the ones that play in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And they have a nice little stadium there. I visited years ago.
Oh, it's a very nice stadium.
Yeah, I want to go back one day. I was thinking about going back next year, and then they announced Wrestlemania might be down, or the rumor is that Wrestlemania might be down there next year.
Yes.
So now it's, which one do I pick?
Well, if it's around the same time that it is this year, spring training will be going on. You can go to both.
Yeah, it should be around the end of spring training, hopefully.
So you could still go to both.
That's possibly the plan. But they don't make the official announcement till WrestleMania night.
I think March 7th they're having a press conference to announce where it's going to be.
Okay. I didn't realize they were doing it like this far ahead.
Yeah, and then I think ticket packages will be on sale after WrestleMania.
Okay.
I plan on going to WrestleMania if it's in Tampa. I plan to have the family go.
Oh, nice. Well, we'll have to figure that out. Maybe we'll go together and cheer on whomever's wrestling at that point. I don't know. It seems like a bunch of the roster won't be around.
Who the hell knows?
That's the problem. It's just there's so much goes on.
Yeah.
It's just like the Shield look like they may not be wrestling next year, and who knows who'll be injured.
Yeah.
Whose contracts are up and want to go to AEW. But it's just, I don't know, man. This New York, New Jersey thing, it just bothers me at this point. Like
it's bothered me for years.
Yeah. Well, they had the Super Bowl in New Jersey a few years ago.
Right.
And they kind of promoted it as New York, New Jersey. Like they kind of said, yeah, it's in New Jersey, but then all the promotion was New York.
Right.
So it's
But the
just
game's not there.
yeah.
And the people who I've talked to about this are always very passionate about the one that the name has to stay the same and why. And they've all said the same things because a team with New Jersey in the name won't sell tickets. That is not a name for a team doesn't sell tickets. A
Um,
winning team sells tickets.
let's see. We have hockey. Uh,
Yes.
when the Devils won the Stanley Cup,
Who they play? They used to play in the same location as the Giants and Jets.
yes, when they won the Stanley Cup, I don't remember how many years ago, they had their ticker tape parade in the parking lot of the stadium.
Right, because that's where they played.
Yes. As opposed to when a New York teams, they go to the Canyon of Heroes and there's ticker tape
Right.
and
Well, how about when
so
the Giants won the Super Bowl last time? Did they have a ticket tape parade down Broadway?
I don't know, did they?
I have no idea, but if they did, it's the stupidest thing. New
Yeah.
Yorkers paid for a parade for a team that doesn't play for New York.
Yeah, I honestly don't know the answer to that because I don't pay attention. But I can tell you that the Yankees definitely had one down there because I went down one year.
Well, it's because they play in New York, of
Yeah.
course.
I want to say the Rangers at least had one down there
When
one year.
the Nets played in New Jersey and they were going to the championships, we weren't celebrating them in New York.
No, not at all. I don't know if they've
And
ever
it's
won.
because, well, the New York doesn't have a football team. Well, get one. Plenty of cities don't have football teams. You're not owed a football team.
Well, at one point they were looking to put the Jets on the West Side Highway.
Side, yeah, and the cable guys,
Dolan, yeah.
yeah, they shut that down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does own Madison Square Garden, among other
Yeah,
things.
he didn't want it to be competition, for the Garden.
Yeah. So that got shot down.
Yes.
So there really currently is no place for football to play in New York City.
Right, but that doesn't mean you can't build a stadium someplace.
Although land is a little tight. I guess the outer boroughs would be a better shot.
Yeah.
I mean, now that Amazon's not coming into Queens.
Queens, you got all that property right there. Knock down the building and build the stadium.
Yeah, and people are more open to having, a stadium than some big tech corporation for some unknown reason.
That makes people pee themselves.
Yeah, I don't know how it looked from there, but here in New York, when that happened, oh my God, people were very polarized about their opinions on this.
Yeah.
Most of whom aren't in the tech sector and probably would never have been directly affected.
Oh, I care more about how the workers' conditions are.
So, if you're a tech worker, it's I mean, there's some long hours, but you get good pay.
No, but the warehouse workers.
Yeah,
they're
they're
the ones
not.
that holding in their pee or peeing in water bottles and.
Yeah, as I said, if you're the blue collar, you're not doing so well.
Right.
But this was going to be a tech mostly, not warehouse.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a fulfillment location.
It may have been both.
Okay.
It may have been a bit of both. But they were really touting the tech angle, making it their secondary headquarters.
Oh, okay.
And it's split. It would be split between here and Virginia. But yeah, it would have been a lot of jobs, admittedly. But the city was also giving up $3 billion.
Whoa.
And then you hear stories of like Amazon not paying their federal taxes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's just like we don't know how good or bad the deal really was for New York because most of us haven't read the damn thing. We just know what's reported in the news.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are going off that, and then you just get people getting very political over it. Because right now we have a lot of Democrats in New York. So all of the people who are right-leaning are blaming, certain Democratic leaders. And, it becomes political, and it's just like, well, I don't want to talk to you if that's the way you're going to do it. Because the deal had its pros and cons.
Right.
But, in the end, we'll see.
So it's a perfect spot then for a football stadium.
Yeah, it really would be.
Then you really can have WrestleMania in New York.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and we were talking about why you couldn't do it like at Madison Square Garden. But the fact is, MetLife can hold about twice as many people.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah, if not more.
Yeah. The only bad side is it's New York, New Jersey, at the
Yeah.
beginning of April when the weather is unpredictable and it's outside.
Yes, and it's outside. Yeah. When they did it a few years ago, they actually had like a canopy over the ring in case there was rain or snow.
Oh, did they? So, yeah, I wasn't watching then, but I was also told it was like sub-freezing temperatures,
It was
and
cold that it was cold out that day.
yeah, and I had friends who were there who were just like, yeah, it was fucking cold, where you're just trying
Yeah.
to stay warm, and you're there from like 4 o'clock until midnight,
Yep.
so it's just hoping you can kind of warm up when you head to the bathrooms or something.
That's probably the one thing that I would dread about going is that you have to get there early, and you're not getting out of there. It's over at 11. By the time you get to your car, it's about midnight, and then you about 2 hours to get out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
I went to a Green Day concert one time at Giant Stadium, and it was 2.5 hours of sitting in the car waiting to move in the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I went to college in New Jersey, which meant we went to a lot of concerts in New Jersey.
Yeah,
And yeah, between the Garden State Arts Center and Giant Stadium and,
yeah.
all those venues.
I mean, the
It's
good
bad.
part about it being at Raymond J. Stadium is that it's only an hour drive for me once I'm out on the road. But that hour drive will probably turn to 2 hours. So now you're looking at getting home, what, like 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
Like, part of it doesn't appeal to me.
I can imagine. I hope you take the next day off.
Yeah, I would. I'd have to, and the kids would have to stay home from school.
Yeah, well, but it's Mania, so, it's a
It's
valid
worth it.
excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the big shows
I
are
mean,
always the best ones to go to, so.
you do have to cross what's called the state line going from New York to New Jersey to see WrestleMania in New Jersey.
Yeah. I hope my passport's in order.
The only way to not have to go into another state is if you lived in New Jersey, which is where WrestleMania is going to be.
But don't worry, because all of the extra stuff is
It's
in
all
New
in New
York.
York. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it's in Brooklyn.
Yes.
NXT, Raw, um,
Down.
SmackDown is also at Barclays.
I'm almost positive.
Okay, I couldn't remember where SmackDown was happening, but it probably is.
And I think the Hall of Fame as well.
Hall of Fame, I don't know if it's at Barclays, but it is in New York.
Yeah.
That one may actually be in Manhattan.
That might be the theater, not the theater.
Yeah. It's the theater
the
at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever, the Paramount.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
yeah.
what used to be called the theater at Madison Square.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew what
that's
that
where I
was
saw
from.
Pearl Jam.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen quite a few shows there myself. So yeah, so that one's in Manhattan proper. Yeah, I mean, I was possibly going away that weekend. Now I'm not because the new job and all that. Now I'm just trying to find tickets to Mania if I can and
Oh, yeah.
not go broke doing it because it's sold out. And I was looking at like StubHub and SeatGeek and all that fun stuff.
What are they running?
About $1,000 a ticket
Oh, man.
for decent seats. Like you can find the cheap ass seats at the top nosebleeds
Yeah.
for like a couple hundred.
Yeah.
But who wants to sit up there?
That's the other thing about why I don't want to. I might not go. It's only because it's like that's really high.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sit that high.
Yeah, well, if you manage it correctly and buy them when they go on sale, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then it's not so bad. But decisions.
Mm-hmm. The big thing with that is to watch to see when the pre-sale goes out.
Yeah.
Because events do that now. They do a pre-sale, and then 4 days later, the tickets go on sale, and they sell out in 2 hours. And we had to sell out in 2 hours. No, you had to sell out in 5 days and 2 hours.
Yeah, I have I'm on the WWE mailing list from being on having the network subscription. So I got the pre-order emails for this year's Mania. I'm sure I'll get for next year's.
All right.
So we'll see.
I never get those emails.
Really?
I wonder what email address I have on file with them.
I'll
have to look at my network subscription and see.
I can tell you it's not my email address.
Because I never get emails. I only check emails on 2 email addresses, so I don't know what email address I put in.
Well, then you should consolidate or forward or, you know.
I'm gonna have to see. I'll go online later. I have to stay up late tonight now.
Well, I hear they have email on computers now, so you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll have to figure it out, and we'll have to see if we want to go to Mania. I don't know. Right now, I got to figure out if I'm going this year. Then I can worry about next year.
I will be going to some event next year. I don't know if it'll be the Hall of Fame, Mania, or NXT. I'd have to see.
All right.
We have plenty of time.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I don't know. You get another thing is if you do the package deals, if you're from like out of town like me, you get the package with like everything, and then you're at Mania, you're at NXT, you're at Hall of Fame, you're at Raw, you're at SmackDown, you know, and it's just a little too much almost.
So that's the thing, though. I wouldn't mind going to the Hall of Fame and SmackDown.
But you don't like Raw?
No, all Raw. Yeah, I'd rather break it up that way. Like if I couldn't go to Mania, I'd break it up to then how we all go see 2 shows.
I hear you. But it's also easier if, you live there.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I'm coming from New York and flying down to Florida.
Yes, I gotta stay at a hotel.
Oh, yeah. I gotta factor in airline tickets and hotels and show tickets and
how we could do a live show.
We could.
Together somewhere.
Ooh, live on-site show. That would be, oh my God. How would we pull that off?
I could give you the mixer. A joke from 2 years ago. Paying off.
Yeah, really. I'll tell Shelly. If I knew how to get in contact with her. Yeah. So, Mania's coming. It's in fucking New Jersey. Fucking New Jersey. Not New York. And I wish they would stop misrepresenting it. A friend of mine wanted to rent out her house.
Oh.
When the Super Bowl was in New Jersey. And I kept going, I don't know if people want to. I mean, they kind of want to stay in New York. She's like, no, I'm going to make a lot of money renting out my house for the weekend.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody rented her house.
Where's her house?
Like a couple miles from the stadium.
Oh. But there's nothing else out that way.
If you go like 5 miles, there's residential and stuff. I mean, it's...
No, that's what I mean. Like, there's nothing else out that way for someone to go do.
No, you have to drive if you want to go anywhere. And
yeah, so you're still renting a car, and you're in a location that's away from where everything else is.
Yeah, everything else, remember, was in Manhattan. Like, the Super Bowl experience, or whatever it was called, was in Times Square.
Right.
They had the Super Bowl parties, all are in Manhattan. Like, there was nothing in New Jersey except for the game itself.
Right.
And I kept trying to tell her, people don't really want to stay in New Jersey. She's like, no, I am going to make, a lot of money. I'm going to make thousands of dollars renting out my house.
Billions!
Yes. And this is also before Airbnb.
Yeah. So, oh, okay.
You can just imagine, the level of delusion there.
Definitely.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Mania. We still have...
Who's an ex-girlfriend of yours, John?
No.
Yeah.
No. God, no. I couldn't put up with her for more than a day, if that was the case. No. Yeah, no. It's somebody you've never met.
Oh. Matty Fridays.
Well, he and I dated. It was short, but, fiery. So...
Oh.
But no. All right. On that note, WrestleMania is still, 5 weeks out?
Yep.
But you know what isn't?
What?
The hot picks.
Oh, wow. We're wrapping up already. See, you were worried, we don't have anything to talk about this week. I was like, just turn the show on. There's something to talk about. There's always something to talk about.
Yeah, just turn on the mic, see what happens. We'll talk about wrestling. We'll talk about golf. It'll be
Meanwhile, I
fantastic.
ran off five topics for you off the top of my head. Of you right like within a minute of you saying there's nothing for us to talk about.
I
Like
didn't.
really,
I didn't
this
say there
top.
was nothing. My exact words is I have to figure out what we're talking about.
Don't figure it out. Just start the show and that's
Exactly.
it. I don't need I don't
Yeah,
need a
it was just.
topic list.
Yeah, I just need to figure out what we're talking about. Yeah, I know, but spend like 5 minutes thinking, like just like, all right, we want to hit this, 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 and this, and it wasn't a question of would we find stuff. It was just
How good was
so,
Doom Patrol episode 3?
haven't watched it yet.
Oh my goodness!
I was watching. I was doing other shit this
I
weekend.
watched it because I thought we were talking about it this week.
I know, but then this wrestling talk came up. I also thought I had till Wednesday because we originally said we were going to record on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with my work schedule. I was originally supposed to work Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. And then last week, the scheduler lady called me. It's like, "Hey, can I put you on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? Really need you in peds those nights." And I said, "Sure, I don't care." So I worked last night, went in tonight, and I wasn't on the assignment sheet. So of course I ask, and the boss lady just looking at me saying, "But you're not supposed to be here. You work Wednesday, Thursday." And I was like, "No, I had this conversation with the scheduler, and this is what she said she needed." And she's like, "All right, you have to go home." And I was like, "I don't care about that." She's like, "You have to call in the morning, and I don't know, maybe they'll have you work tomorrow night." So now I'm faced with the dilemma of do I stay up all night tonight so I can sleep tomorrow in case I work tomorrow night, or do I just say fuck it? I'll go to sleep at like 2, wake up at 6, talk to this lady by 8, and take a nap if they need me, or I just say screw it altogether. Go into my bed and lay down with my lovely wife, who I haven't seen since Saturday night because we're on opposites this week, and take my chances.
I say go see the lovely wife.
I'll probably go see the lovely wife.
But yeah, I was going to watch it tomorrow night to talk about Wednesday. But as always, next week.
That's right. And then next week we'll have episode 4 to talk about too.
As well as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother discussion that I almost put on our schedule for tonight. But
I am seeing it Thursday, 7 p.m.
All right, I'll be seeing it over the weekend at some point.
Okay.
So.
And then next week, Jen and I are away Monday, Tuesday. And I don't know what my work schedule is yet.
All right, we'll figure it out.
All right.
But in the meantime, we have the pick of hotness.
Yeah. So I watched a movie on Netflix the other night that was a little cheesy but still fun, called Staten Island Summer.
I love that movie.
We're talking about New York, New Jersey, so here we talk about Staten Island. Filmed entirely on location on Staten Island, not in Staten Island, because that's not proper grammar. On Staten Island at the Great Kills Swim Club, which I've been to many times. I've been to the locksmith store where they went to buy the keys. I was just naming locations. I was looking at street signs, and they were, usually in like a movie or TV show, they'll blow out street signs for whatever the reason is. I don't know the logic behind that, but this one, they're all perfectly clear. So I got to see Woodrow Road and Manor Road, and there was an old bar that was in the background of a shop on Manor Road where I used to go. But aside from that, the movie itself was pretty fun. It was just a silly Netflix movie. It's actually like a Saturday Night Live movie. That's not a Saturday Night Live movie. There's a bunch of people from Saturday Night Live, executive produced by Lorne Michaels. It's about this boy trying to just spend his last summer with his friends before he goes off to college. They're all lifeguards at the Great Kill Swim Club. And, there's a hot chick that he wants to, get with.
Of course. Yeah, I watched that years ago, and I thought it was...
Really? How old is it?
2015.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought it was new, because I don't pay attention.
Yeah, I just brought up the IMDb on it, because it's been so long since I've seen it.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I mean, the writer is Colin Jost, who was one of the guys on Wrestlemania
tonight. Yeah, see, he is funny. They just weren't funny tonight.
Yeah. And it's just a lot of Saturday Night Live comedians or friends of theirs.
Yes.
And, Bobby Moynihan's in it.
Yes.
Strong, Fred Armisen.
What's the other chick that does Hillary Clinton? She's in it. And she looks gorgeous, too. I'll say that much. Kate McKinnon?
Oh, is she? I'm not seeing her in here. Well, Kate McKinnon is Mrs. Ben Jr.
Yeah. She had the Staten Island teased up hair, and she was wearing a bikini. She looked really cute.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it. It's been a while. But
Gina Gershon's in it, looking like total Staten Island slut.
mhm. But she's always hot. So
Yeah, she's always hot. No, there's no doubt about it. She's hot.
Penny Marshall's in it. Jim Gaffigan.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched this a long time ago. It was very
It was the dad. He was hilarious.
Yeah, but it was very reminiscent of those '80s movies that we grew up watching.
Yes, very much like Hard Bodies type movie. Hard Bodies is a great movie. You could never remake that in this day and age, but man, oh man, that was a good movie. I spill no wine before it's time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can't do like nudity and all that like you used to.
No.
But it was
the old dude in Hard Bodies. He's playing the guitar. He's getting a blowjob. It was a pretty funny movie.
God, there's another one I haven't seen in like decades.
Hard Bodies, and then there was Hard Bodies 2, and obviously it wasn't as good.
Oh, of course. The sequel's never as good.
Never as good. Never.
So, yeah, that one's very funny. I have to rewatch it now because it's been...
Yeah, so check that out. Check it out.
Well, but my hot pick is a movie as well. And it's really... I mean, the description like that they give for the bio doesn't really even scratch the surface. So there's a kid is kidnapped at a young age, and we open the movie with him with his quote unquote parents in like a biodome, and then the police raid it and save the kid, who is now teenager, whatever. And the whole time he's been in there, he's been watching this children's program called Brigsby Bear.
Yeah.
And it's the only TV show he's ever seen. So it's a bit of an obsession for him after, almost 20 years or whatever. And the show was made just for him, to teach him and everything else. So he's now out in the world and returned to his real parents and trying to recapture this show that nobody's seen but him. And so he's trying to actually interface with people for the first time. And ultimately he begins to try and recreate this himself and finish the story that this show has been doing. And it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just magical. It's just, I love this great story of creation. It's the story of, this guy who's, late teens now and has never seen anybody except these other two people. And he's just trying to create this show that he loved and kind of bring it to its conclusion and make his own film.
Is there a TV show from your youth that you would like to do that with?
I don't know. See, the problem is...
Like a kid show, not like an old TV show.
Yeah, no, I know. I figured you meant kid show. The problem is that kid shows didn't become serialized until, the 90s.
Mm.
So, all right, actually, you know what? There is one, and they just finished it. I don't know if you remember, early 90s, there was the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
And it ran for 12 episodes, where each episode captured one of the ghosts. So
Right.
Scooby, Shaggy, and Vincent Price as a ghost. Trying to, or I think he was a ghost, trying to capture all these 13 ghosts. Well, it only lasted one season, so it didn't have an ending. And last week, I want to say, they came out with straight to home video movie, The 13th Ghost of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm not a huge Scooby-Doo fan, but I kind of want to watch this one to see how they end the story.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, without Vincent Price. But it's just it's one of the early cartoons I can remember being very serialized.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're actually, 20 years later, almost 30 years later, finishing the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty awesome. But we grew up on Transformers, G.I. Joe, and they were not serialized. Yes. They were like sitcoms of the day where it reset at the end of each episode.
At the end of the show, yeah.
And then there would be some changes from season to season. Oh, it's season 2. Let's introduce the new Joes.
Yeah.
Here's the movie, and it introduces more new Joes. But it never really changes the storylines overall.
Yes.
Like everything returns to the status quo at the end.
Like they're all standalones.
Exactly. Like even the Batman animated series in '92. It wasn't till even the final season where it was the new Batman Adventures, where they were a little more serialized, a little more cohesive in their storytelling.
And then when it became the Batman with a different art style, it was serialized. But that was 2000 in the 2000s.
And that was a completely different cartoon, completely unrelated. But yeah, that one was very
serialized. But it became more serialized. So,
but by that point, like they had more serialized entertainment.
Yeah.
DVDs became more popular. And streaming was just starting kind of thing, but people, once DVDs changed the landscape, because before that, yes, they did videotapes, but people didn't really buy them, and they didn't do like the full season where you could binge the whole thing.
It was like 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's like, here's the best of the Joker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you didn't have that till DVDs, and shows like Lost kind of showed that people were willing to follow a story.
Yeah.
Because, yes, you had soap operas before that, but it really didn't catch, like, overall TV, because they were just always there.
Yeah.
But once, like, Lost kind of showed that, hey, people will buy a season DVD box, binge the whole thing, and then join for the following season, and ratings go up, you know, that it made a difference. So, yeah, I'd love to say, hey, continue shit from my childhood, but it's just, you could just restart it the next day, and because there's no
serialized. Right, but then what's something that you would serialize?
You know, I think G.I. Joe G.I. Joe and Transformers have been done to death.
Yeah.
I think at this point.
Yeah.
Because they've had serialized, starting with Beast Wars.
Yes.
G.I. Joe, they did Retaliation. That one was okay.
And Resolute.
Resolute was fantastic.
That was awesome. I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah. Retaliation was the series after that on not Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Not Boomerang. The one that Hasbro owned, and they tried to launch.
Oh, I don't even know what channel it was on.
It was the one.
I know I watched like 2 episodes and I loved it.
Yeah. But that Hasbro had their own network for a while. It's how they relaunched My Little Pony, how they relaunched G.I. Joe.
Oh.
My Little Pony's the only one that really caught on with the new episode.
Oh, wow.
With the whole Brony thing.
I like that G.I. Joe series was the Joes were on the run.
Yeah. It kind of gave them a whole new aspect to it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I saw every episode when it ran. But it just had no audience, so what are you going to do? But yeah, I don't know. Why? Is there one you'd bring back from your childhood?
Probably Magic Garden.
Well, that's not really a serialized. I mean, that was...
but I'd make it serious.
All right. Because I was going to say, that's like bringing back Sesame Street kind of thing. Not that ever went away.
I would love if Sesame Street became immensely popular again.
I would love to see that as well. But unfortunately, like, real educational programming doesn't catch the way it used to.
No.
Oh, man. You have, like, Nick Jr. type crap.
Yeah.
And where it's really kiddie. Like Dora the Explorer is kind of mind-numbing after you watch 2 episodes.
Yes.
And then you graduate to, like, SpongeBob, and it's...
There's no education value there.
No. So, I don't know. But yeah, the Magic Garden, they tour occasionally. Around New Jersey and New York.
Yeah. And you know that was regional programming.
Yeah.
Which I think has gone away. That was only that, like, Philly had their own, like, just like Romper Room. There was Romper Room all around the country. But Miss Molly or Miss Janice, they were all, it was a little different depending on where you were.
Yeah, I don't think Magic Garden was syndicated. I think it was just...
No, it was just the New York, New Jersey area, yeah.
So they do appearances at, like, the Paramus Park Mall and things like that.
Yeah.
And they get a good crowd from what I hear. But I've never gone to check that out personally. But
yeah. My ex-wife, she had a friend, I want to say his name was Frankie, I could be mistaken. He ran a MySpace fan page for the Magic Garden. And he ended up, like, meeting them and such. They were on, like, I think the Today Show, and he ended up, like being backstage with them at the Today Show.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that stuff like that return.
No, I love that.
But I think we're in too much of a national level.
Yeah, no, nothing's regional anymore. Very little TV is regional.
I think we've even talked about it, maybe not on here, but how nothing is small anymore.
No, everything has to be gigantic and worldwide.
Yeah, because there's when we were kids, like comic books were almost like a secret club.
Yeah.
If somebody read comic books, it was a rare thing.
Yes.
You know,
it wasn't even a wrestling fandom. Like we would all trade. We'd give each other magazines. It'd be tape trades and everything. But like it was, you didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, even into the mid '90s, I'd say.
Yeah.
It was still like a club.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't till like The Rock and Austin blew up bigger than wrestling.
And it went mainstream. Like even when it was mainstream in the '80s, it still wasn't cool, even though it was at the same time.
It was one of those things where everybody kind of did it, but they were closet fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get that. But yeah, there's no
like I wouldn't be wearing a wrestling T-shirt to school. Like now, I wear wrestling T-shirts, comic book T-shirts, like almost every day.
But so does everybody now.
Yeah, so does everybody. That's what I mean. Everyone does.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I mean, I kind of miss the era of small fandom because, like, you just had this thing you had in common, this special little thing that you loved.
Yes.
And, I would say over the past 10 years, that has completely disappeared.
Yeah, definitely.
I think MySpace, you kind of still had that.
Mm-hmm.
But once Twitter kind of blew up,
it
blew it up. And then you had, Facebook and Reddit and whatever else.
Facebook fan pages.
Yeah, I mean, things that went viral could last for weeks and months.
Yeah.
Now
you go viral for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're lucky if you last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It all kind of maxes out in an hour, and then it's on to the next thing because we have no attention span. And then a few weeks later, somebody else realizes that they never saw it before and shares it, and it lasts another half hour.
Yep, and that's it.
It's like, oh, you didn't know about lolcats? What the fuck is wrong with you?
What did we get into recently? I think it was my hot pick one week on YouTube. Charlie, the unicorn. It's a silly series from like maybe 10 years ago with these three unicorns, and it's definitely stoner humor without a doubt. But I'm not a stoner. I find it all to be funny. But I sent one episode to Abby, and she was actually like, "This is old." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you know it?" She said, "Of course, who doesn't?" So then we started walking around like doing the quoting the show, because one night we sat as a family and watched all 12 episodes. And we'll go fast forward to Christmas, and the whole family's together, and we're saying, "Charlie, we're going to Candy Mountain." And here's Jen's niece, Charlie, walking around. What? Who's 3? Like, huh? Candy Mountain? What? And Jen's sister, not knowing anything, who's much younger than Jen, not knowing anything what we're talking about, we showed her what it was. She's like, "Oh my God, this is brilliant. Is this new? Like, where did this come from? Like, I'm not on the internet much. Is this brand new?" We're like, "No, it's old." She's like, "Oh," so now she posted on her Facebook as if she just discovered the brand new thing.
Of course. And nobody's ever seen it before because she's sharing it, so it must be new.
Yeah, must be new. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Shazam trailer.
Shazam trailer looked awesome.
I'm looking forward to this movie. So
yeah,
without a doubt. And
I see that other people talking about it are excited to see Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam being as successful as they are, and at the same time, Batman and Superman are like on the back burner for right now.
Yeah, and this will come up when we actually talk about the movies, but how like Marvel, their top guys now were like C-level at best 10 years ago.
Yes.
And it's just because X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man were tied up in contracts elsewhere.
Yes.
So that they were forced to work on these guys. And
so now people know who Drax is and Ant-Man.
Exactly. Hell, they're about to find out who Captain Marvel is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I hope they all hate it, but at the same time, I hope it's awesome.
Yeah.
They're gonna hate it no matter what, but it's gonna be awesome, and they're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
They're gonna hate it even more so because it's awesome.
Exactly, and it's gonna do well. I mean, it's I don't know where it's ranking, but it was, I think, the second highest pre-sale. My number could be off, but it's like top 3 highest.
Why
pre-sale.
can't Captain Marvel be a guy?
Why does every movie have to be a guy?
Why does everyone have to be a fucking guy?
So we'll see. We're gonna. This is a conversation we're gonna have next week when we do the review. We're definitely gonna talk about the lead up. And
that dude who you were talking to last week about it with the Rotten Tomatoes thing blocked me.
Oh, really?
And all I did was just chime in. If you don't like it, go start your own website.
I don't think he blocked me because I saw him tweeting earlier today or yesterday or whatever.
So we'll talk about that next week too.
Yeah. All right. So it's that time where we look to the skies. We point out at the big Wrestlemania sign. And are you done pointing?
Yeah.
All right, good. And we say we will see you next week, true believers. Higher, faster, further,
stronger.